Greetings once again everyone, and today I'm checking out a neat little aps-c ultra-wide-angle autofocus lens from Yongnuo, the 11mm f1.8 S DA DSM WL. It costs around $300 by itself and about $350 with a little remote control, which I'll talk about in a minute, and that's potentially good value for money for a bright aperture autofocus lens, well, if it turns out to be any good. It's currently only available for Sony's mirrorless E-mount cameras, and as I mentioned, it offers an aps-c image circle. Here's what you get if you shoot full frame. I'd like to thank Yongnuo for sending me a copy of this lens for testing, although as usual, this is a totally independent review. 11mm on an aps-c camera is the full frame equivalent of 16.5mm, which is a lovely, useful ultra-wide angle, adding lots of drama to your picture, pushing away your subject, and generally making itself useful for all kinds of landscape and architecture photography, among other things. And an aperture as wide as f1.8, well, that's impressive too. Not only does it mean your backgrounds can get a little out of focus, well, if you're close enough to your subject anyway, but it could also be potentially useful for astrophotography or just shooting anywhere in the dark. Neat. The design of the lens itself is quite good looking here, and its build quality is very nice. At 260 grams, it has a nice little weight to it without feeling heavy. It's a metallic lens based on a metal lens mount with a weather sealing gasket and a USB-C port around the side for future firmware updates. Then we get some controls, a customizable function button and an auto manual focus switch, which can also be set to turn the wireless remote control on and off. As I mentioned, the lens can be bought with an extra remote control, which allows you to adjust focus remotely, A to B focusing, and adjusting focus speed, and apparently starting and stopping video recording. Interesting. Not something I need at all, but some video makers doing unusual projects might be interested. Then comes the aperture ring. It can be set to turn smoothly or to turn with gentle clicks, and I love having that option. Then comes the manual focus ring, which is also metallic and turns very smoothly. The lens's manual focus response could be a bit jerky sometimes, suddenly pulling into place. As you can also see here, the lens suffers from focus breathing, although on such a wide-angle optic, it's not really so important. The lens's autofocus motor is quiet and accurate. It works reasonably quickly in single shot mode and very fast in continuous autofocus mode. The lens has a 58mm filter size and comes with a little plastic hood. It does not feature image stabilization. All in all, the lens's build quality feels very nice and its electronics work fine too. So let's look at image quality by mounting it onto a 24MP aps-c camera. In-camera corrections are turned on for this test, although they didn't really seem to do very much. At f1.8, image quality in the middle is perfect, razor sharpness and excellent contrast. Corner image quality is a bit messy though, with softness, darkness and chromatic aberration. f2 looks about the same, f2.8 is a little brighter and f4 is noticeably sharper. f5.6 and f8 look about the same. Stop down to f11 or f16 and the image just gets softer due to diffraction, and that chromatic aberration is still there. Overall, it's amazing image quality in the middle of your pictures, but the corners are looking a little rough. Still though, stop down to f4 and they become at least reasonably good. Something I noticed on this lens is that in-camera corrections don't seem to work so well with it. Here's a picture with corrections turned on and now turned off. Very little difference, as you can see, with a strong pinch of barrel distortion here. Perhaps that could be fixed in a future firmware update. Anyway, stop down to f2 or f2.8 and those corners brighten up, but that is about as bright as they get. The lens's minimum focus distance is a very close 15cm. Just look how close you can get to smaller subjects here. Image quality gets very soft and hazy close up, unfortunately, with only a small improvement if you stop down to f2. At f2.8 things look better, and at f4 the image is suddenly very sharp again. Let's see how the lens works against bright light. There's not much flaring across the image frame, but there's a very large shimmer around the point of light itself, as you can see. If you stop down to f2.8 though, then that quickly goes away. While we're working in the dark, let's take a look at coma and sun stars. At f1.8, we see only a small amount of smearing on bright points of light in the image corners. Stop down to f2.8 and it's gone. Let's zoom out then and look for sun stars. They begin to really emerge at f5.6, getting stronger at f8, f11 and f16. Very impressive. This is a good lens for shooting in the dark, obviously. Next, bokeh. If you can get close enough to your subject for an out-of-focus background, you'll see that they look very smooth and even here, no serious problems to note. And finally, related to bokeh comes longitudinal chromatic aberration. Pleasingly, it's not too strong on this lens, even at f1.8. There's still just a hint of it to be seen at f2.8, but at f4, it's essentially gone. Overall, I liked this lens's build quality and its images very much, although technically it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Its corner image quality could have been a lot better, and I don't know what was going on with its in-camera corrections, but its contrast is very good. It has low coma, nice sun stars, nice bokeh. If you don't need razor sharpness in the corners of your image, then this lens is actually a very good option, and the fact that it only costs around $300, despite having perfectly good autofocus, makes this thing very good value for money, and therefore it has to come overall recommended. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I love testing out ultra-wide lenses with bright apertures, even if I get a little cold doing the nighttime photography. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters who are making such a big difference in keeping this channel going sponsorship free. I love making exclusive bonus content for them, as well as giving early access to some of my more interesting videos. Check it out in the description below, and ciao for now, everyone.